Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We're going to look at the human body not just as, standard biology, but as this beautifully illustrated, wildly dynamic biological blueprint. There's incredible power in looking at our anatomy this way, breaking down the complex machinery of our existence into staggering bite-sized facts that reveal just how extraordinary we really are. From the autonomous engines running in our chests to the high-speed electrical wiring in our nervous system, we're going to explore the magnificent architecture that keeps you alive every single day.
Okay, let's dive into this. I've got a question for you that honestly sounds like it's straight out of an action movie. Could your heart actually continue to beat if it were completely removed from your chest? Picture it, Indiana Jones style, just, minus the forceful entry and bursting into flames. It sounds like pure fiction, right? But the answer is a resounding yes. It's all thanks to this incredible mechanism called self-excitation. See, the heart muscle doesn't sit around waiting for instructions from the brain. It independently determines when it's going to beat. If it were completely removed from the body, it could just keep beating on its own for about 3 minutes. And this isn't just a cool anatomical party trick. It is an absolutely crucial survival mechanism. If you suffer a severe head injury and go unconscious, you obviously can't actively tell your heart to beat. And since delicate neurological tissue starts dying in just 90 seconds without oxygen, self-excitation ensures your heart keeps aggressively pumping life-saving blood even when the brain is temporarily offline.
Section 1. The Autonomous Engine.
To really appreciate this system, let's pan across our mental blueprint straight to the center of the chest. Look at this number, 3 billion. Over the course of an average lifetime, your heart is going to beat between 2.5 and 3 billion times. It never takes a vacation. It literally never takes a day off. Because it pumps roughly 2,000 gallons of blood every single day, this autonomous engine will push a staggering 55 million gallons, or about 208 million liters of blood through your vessels over your lifetime. It's just an absolute powerhouse of endurance.
And right next door to that beating heart are your lungs. Imagine if you could take the respiratory tubes inside your lungs, unfold them from this schematic, and lay them completely flat. They would cover a surface area of 50 to 75 square meters. That is roughly the size of a full-size tennis court. This massive area exists because your bronchial tubes branch out 33 times, creating 33 generations of tubes. It's this incredible surface area that lets you breathe in roughly 20,000 times a day, pulling in enough air to fill 850 party balloons every single day.
Section 2. Bones and biomechanics. Now, what's really interesting about this structural foundation of ours is that it's not static at all. As infants, we're born with a highly flexible framework made up of around 300 individual bones. But as we grow up, that number drops drastically. You've probably heard that an adult has 206 bones, but the core concept here is the massive consolidation taking place. Bones literally fuse together over time to form the larger, more rigid structures you need to support an adult frame. So your skeleton is quite literally morphing as you age.
But human anatomy isn't some rigid factory standard assembly line. There's this beautiful variability to it. A perfect example, wormian bones. These are entirely unique, extra little islands of bone that form within the sutures or the seams of your skull, and they vary wildly from person to person. You might have several of these extra little bones mapped into your skull's cross-section right now, while the person sitting right next to you might have absolutely none at all.
Speaking of bones and movement, let's bust a major anatomical myth right now. Go ahead, look down at your hands and wiggle your fingers. You'd think there are tiny little muscles in there doing all that intricate work, right? Wrong. There's essentially no muscle tissue in your fingers whatsoever. All the soft tissue you're feeling is just skin, fat, and connective tissue. Your fingers are actually operated like marionette puppets by tendons, which are connected to muscles located way further up in your hand and your forearm.
Oh, and while we're busting myths, we have to talk about the elbow. You know that extra stretchy skin on the outside of your elbow? A lot of people call it the weenus. Well, actually, scratch that. Let's clear the air. That is not a real anatomical term. It's literally just elbow skin. I have no idea where that rumor started, but anatomically speaking, it's completely made up.
Section 3. The skin we shed and the senses.
Zooming out to examine our outermost layer, let's walk through this staggering math. Your epidermis, that top layer of skin, is basically a factory running at absolute warp speed. You lose between 30,000 and 40,000 skin cells every single minute. That scales up to nearly 60 million cells lost every day. Your epidermis completely replaces itself every 27 days or so, and during this process, the dying cells shrivel up, stick together, and burst, releasing their fatty insides to perfectly waterproof your brand new skin underneath. It's this continuous, invisible shedding process happening all around you right now.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how insanely hard the body works to maintain its sensory organs, specifically our vision. Just to keep our eyes lubricated and free of dust, we blink about 15 times a minute. Now, that doesn't sound like much until you multiply it out. That's 21,600 blinks a day, and an exhausting 7.9 million blinks a year. Your body is performing millions of micro movements annually just so you can see the world clearly, in roughly 1 million different color variations, all originating from just 3 types of cones in your eye.
Section 4. Digestion and Filtering. Panning down to the metabolic center of our blueprint, right behind your stomach and liver, there is a massive liquid processing facility running 24/7. Your kidneys are filtering about 50 gallons, or 190 liters of blood every single day, turning all that into just 1 to 2 liters of urine. Meanwhile, your pancreas, this little yellow bumpy organ, is churning out up to 2 liters of highly powerful digestive juices, dropping them straight into the duodenum to break down your food. The sheer volume of fluid being filtered and produced behind the scenes is just mind-boggling.
And your body is incredibly smart about how it handles whatever you send down the chute. Transit time from your mouth to your stomach actually adjusts dynamically. If you take a sip of water, it shoots down to the stomach in a lightning-fast 2 seconds. But if you're eating something dry, like a handful of saltine crackers, your esophagus uses these powerful muscular contractions to methodically push it down, which can take up to 8 seconds.
Of course, none of that digestion works without saliva. An average adult produces about 1 liter of saliva per day. If you stretch that over a lifetime, you produce roughly 7,400 gallons of spit. To put that visually, that is enough saliva to fill 90 standard-sized bathtubs. 90! So next time you think about your digestion, just picture those 90 bathtubs. But perhaps the most magical organ in this entire metabolic center is the liver. You could literally have as much as 60 to 70% of your liver removed, and it will actually regrow. No way, right? But here's the catch. It regenerates optimized for mass and function, not for aesthetics. Your internal programming focuses strictly on survival. So if your liver regrows, you're going to have all the function you need, but you might end up with a very strange, non-liver-looking liver.
Section 5. The nervous system.
Let's move to our final system and see how this all builds into the high-speed electrical wiring of the body. Your spinal cord is the main highway, but it doesn't actually travel all the way down your spine. It ends roughly in the middle of your back, around vertebrae T12 to L1. From there, it beautifully fans out into this massive bundle of nerves called the cauda equina. In Latin, that translates to horsetail. This incredible network spreads out and innervates absolutely everything downstream, from your pelvis right down to your toes.
And the traffic on this highway, it is moving at unbelievable speeds. Neural impulses traveling through a well-myelinated nerve, which just means a nerve wrapped in protective fatty tissue, can travel at upper ranges of 250 miles per hour. Think about that. The signals telling your muscles to move or registering the feeling of touch are rocketing through your body at the speed of a professional race car.
But the real magic happens where all these signals originate, the brain. Inside your skull right now, you have approximately 86 billion neurons. And each one of those neurons can have up to 10,000 synapses, or connection points, with other neurons. This means at the maximum estimated range, the human brain contains roughly 860 trillion synapses.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 860 trillion. So the crucial point is this. Inside your head, right now, there are more neurological connections than there are leaves on all the trees in the entire world combined. The incomprehensible scale of the human mind is truly the crown jewel of our biological blueprint.
From a heart that beats independently, to bones that fuse as you grow, to a mind more complex than global forests, you are an absolute marvel of engineering. The data is clear, and the design is simply breathtaking. So I leave you with this thought. With trillions of connections firing inside you right this very second, what will your biological canvas build next? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep marveling at the machine you call home.